It's the Football Prophets.
Episode of Football Prophets where two friends talk all things American soccer. I'm your favorite host, Miche, and I'm here today, as always, with my good friend, Coach David Johnson. How you doing today, my guy?
I'm slow today. I'm not gonna lie.
You asked me why I'm wearing my tie. I don't want my glasses. I don't want people to see how tired I am.
So for those of you listening, we went to the Gold Cup quarterfinals that are being held in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
We got into stadium at 4:30, and we left the stadium a little after 11.
Yeah.
It was long. It was hot. And it's like 1 a.m. and we're just starting recording. I'm ready for bed, man. I only put like 2 parts in. I forgot a whole part when I was making the rundown tonight. I completely forgot a third of our show. So it's going to be solid. But we got hefty cups, and it'll be good.
Greatest party cup in America, but
not El Salvador.
Not El Salvador. Not Australia, just America. But you were putting ice on yourself there for a little bit, man, when you were at the game.
Yeah, it was hot, man, and the sun was just right on top of your head. Like it was rough.
I didn't bring this up at a game, but I think the lady in front of us had a crush on you, man.
Yeah, let's not talk about anything like that.
I was sitting there. I was like, a little too conversational. But all right, let's go ahead and
she was a chatty Cathy. We can definitely say that.
There was a lot of people at that game, man. The people behind me is just my god.
You almost fought someone because they just kept talking in your ear.
I didn't fight them. I was very calm and collected.
I said almost. You almost snapped.
But they kept talking the whole 7 or 8 hours we were there, man. Like, come on. But and they had just one of those annoying voices. But let me be happy because my team is back. My team is back. I'm tired of hearing about Seattle. I'm tired of hearing about all this team. The LA Galaxy are back where they're supposed to be. They're kicking butts and taking names.
Just so we're clear, they're still second bottom. So I don't know if that's back where they should be, but they're on the right path. They're on the path.
It's all about what have you done for me lately. And lately, all to do is win no matter what. So we had a great game with the Rose Bowl, and we had about 80,000 fans in attendance, and then LA Galaxy LA Galaxy say, okay, y'all think LAFC can put one on us? Let's show you guys what we can do, man. What you got for us on that game, Coach?
Yeah, so roughly 80,000 fans in the Rose Bowl. It was crazy. It was 4th of July. This game wasn't supposed to be 4th of July. It was supposed to be Rose Bowl, but it was supposed to be earlier in the season. It got canceled, so then it got rescheduled to 4th of July Rose Bowl. It was absolutely incredible. The fans in the stadium were intense. It was just one of the coolest soccer things I've ever seen. It looked like a proper European, like Galatasaray, Fenerbahce type of derby match where it's this old kind of cement stadium. You got flares going everywhere. Fans are going crazy. It really brought that like old school European derby type of vibe to it. But my biggest takeaway here is I was excited for this game because the last time these two teams played was in the U.S. Open Cup, and it was LA Galaxy's first team versus essentially LAFC's kids, right? Like it was all their second team, no real starters on that team. And Riqui Puig scores a goal in that game, and he takes his jersey off, holds it in front of him, showing the crowd his name on the back of the jersey, the classic iconic Messi celebration, right?
Because why not?
Chiellini afterwards is walking through the tunnel, and Riqui Puig is getting interviewed, and Chiellini calls him a clown and is clearly upset about the way he reacted to beating a bunch of kids, calling him a clown. And you could just think that this was going to be something this game, right? Like Riqui Puig did I am him. I am the guy celebration. In really a game they should have been the guy. They should have done it. So this is when you back it up, right? Against what still is a great team in LAFC. I know we talked about the slide they're on. It's almost like only one LA team can be good at a time. And currently that's LA Galaxy.
Yeah.
But LAFC are not a bad team, right?
We just
And
can't
Riqui
score
Puig
right
went
now.
off. He was world class. He was the best player on the field by far. It was just a true world class performance by Riqui Puig. Probably definitely the best performance we've ever seen him have in an LA jersey. So it's good. Can we replicate that, or is he just a big game player that only can play in front of 80,000 people, and as soon as he goes back down to 20-something thousand fans, he just doesn't feel it, and he's just kind of giving you a B- performance every week, right? Like, can this be replicable? Is this Rose Bowl game the start of something big for him, right? And we got a little peek of that. So that was our midweek game. And then this weekend, not just the LA Galaxy just thumped Philadelphia. The Union are good, right? Like, the Union are a great team in this league.
Yeah.
And they beat them 3-1. That is about as comfortable as you will ever get against Philadelphia.
I'm
Right,
very
like-
impressed with that one because you know how much I respect Philly, and you know how much I think about Philly. And for us, we've beaten them 3-1, but we were on pace, like at some point to just be ridiculous, and we just beat Philly. So I'll take that, man. If that's the only great win we get for the season, you can tell me all you want. I'm saying, hey, we beat Philly though.
You beat Philly and you beat LAFC like in back to back, like in the same week. Like, that's intense. You can't really ask for a better week than beating your inner city rivals who are well above you in the standings, and then going to beat one of the best teams in the league comfortably. Like, you can't ask for a better week for if you're a Galaxy supporter.
Yeah.
Riqui Puig again went off, right? So he had two really good performances in 1 week. This could be the start of something here for LA Galaxy. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I would be less surprised of them making the playoffs than I would be of Inter Miami at this point.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm okay with the late season push rather than, starting good and good to begin the season and kind of falling apart. So I'm glad. I just want us to kind of pass this. Let's just win some game, get the fan base happy. Let's not be the laughing stock of the MLS by the end of the season. And I'll take that. That's a win, man. Just let's not.
Riqui Puig for the majority of this season so far has only had like one assist, right? And now all of a sudden in the last 2-3 weeks, he's sitting at, I think, 3 goals, 6 assists. By far the most assists on his team.
Yeah.
I think he's the second leading goal scorer for this LA Galaxy team behind Tyler Boyd, who's the man he's pretty much assisted every single time to. So he is very clearly the guy now.
Yeah.
Now, is it interesting that this new turn of form for the Galaxy happens when Chicharito goes out with an injury? That's questionable, right? Like, maybe this is a team that should have moved away from him, should have moved on last year, right? Maybe this isn't a team that can be built around an aging number 9 superstar when you have a young number 10 that needs to pull the strings, right? Because Chicharito isn't just a high player, right? He likes to get on ball. He likes touches. He can be that just clinical finisher, box in the box, waiting for a pass to get to him and him making a clever run. But he likes to be involved in the play. If you have two guys centrally that want to be involved in the play, one of them isn't.
Okay, so can he be that player? Can he be the, and kind of name that's coming to my mind, maybe not MLS, but kind of like Fernando Torres type player when he's getting older? Can he be that player?
We haven't seen it, right? Like, every time he starts to have a good run of form, he gets an injury. He's just injury, and he's had more injuries than he's had goals, I think, in LA. Like, honestly, last season he was phenomenal, right? But he was also injured for half of last season. it's diminishing returns at this point. I think at this point you have to look at your other strikers you have in Boyd, Preston Judd, Dejan Joveljic, and be like, all right, we have a really good young group of strikers. Maybe we take out the superstar who's taking all the attention away from them, taking all the passes away from him, and just let these three kind of figure out who needs to be up top and just go from there. Maybe this is time Chicharito either calls it a career, goes to a lower league, or just accepts a role as super sub. But clearly his body isn't able to be the guy week in, week out. He's falling apart there. And clearly the team isn't able to play the way he needs to play because when he's playing, they are sucking.
Play the way when we can play the way. That's what I was going to say. We can play that way. Like, you can play any way you want to play, but are you winning? You know, that's the biggest question. And honestly, if I'm him, I'm going to take that super sub role because this is not a matter of just playing. It's also a matter of your body holding up. So I'll sit in the bench, you know, come off for 20, 30 minutes whenever they need me, do what I got to do and put one in the back of the net if I can. But I think that's what they got to look at that. They have
I'm retiring.
To,
if I'm him, I'm retiring. This is my last season if I was him.
Bro, you in LA though. You Chicha.
You know,
you in
but
LA. Yeah.
He'll still be in LA. He'll be fine. He has plenty of money. He's had an absolute incredible career playing in Europe, playing for some of the biggest clubs in the world.
He played for Man U at some point, right?
Played for Man U, played for Real Madrid. Like he's done it, right? Like he's completed football. Like you can't do better than he's done in reality, right?
Especially
like
with
very
the
few players can do better than him. So it's one of those things where does he want to just fade in and become that bench role, or does he want to go out still being Chicharito? Right? Like I would try. I mean, I'd be done. If I was him, I'd be done.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it now with the injuries, I'll go out. Because you see, you're still in his 30s. That's still in normal human age. That's still young, you know. But obviously in athlete age, that is very old, you know.
Yes.
So I would, I'll definitely see that fires him. So, but talking about, you mentioned the team here when we were talking a little bit about LA Galaxy having some hope for the playoff, and you mentioned Miami. Looks like Miami is understanding the assignment. They're just saying, let's not lose any game until, when is Messi coming in?
I think they have 1 or 2 more games without him.
Okay, they're just saying because what your prediction was, they'll only get 1 point until he comes. Is that what you said?
Yes, my prediction was 1, and I think it was 5. So right? They've played 2 games of those 5, so they should have 3 more games, I believe, until Messi comes in. They've gotten 2 points. They've both been draws. I thought their draw would come against either Columbus or DC.
And
I wasn't sure which one they would get it against, and they got it against both of them. Joseph Martinez scores again, so he's finding his form. Right, he scored in the Columbus game, and then Cremanci scores, who is this kind of up and coming kid that no one expected him to be a baller, and he's been doing it for them. And he's someone that they will keep. Odds are they're going to get rid of Pizarro. Odds are they're going to get rid of their other number 9, whose name I'm spacing on because it's well past 1 o'clock right now, Campagna. So odds are it's going to be Joseph Martinez and Cremanci up top for them as their 2 options. So when you have both of those guys scoring, that's a good sign.
Yeah, I think if they don't make it, they'll be super close to making it. At least it's gonna bring back some life, back in there. I think honestly, I kind of said it last episode. If there's one person that can do it, it's got to be the GOAT. So I believe, man, it might happen.
Fair enough.
It's great that when you need something done, you bring in just that guy that may be able to get it done. So that's very kind of boosts your confidence a little bit. All right, so let's talk about Chicho Arango, man. Talk to me a little bit about him here. Talk to me about.
Yeah, so he was the signing that I was talking about where I was more excited about seeing what he could do to this team, him and one other player in Teemu Pukki, we'll get to later, but seeing what they can do and how they can transition their team into being that next level, more so than I was excited about Messi, right? Obviously, I'm more excited about Messi in MLS than any other player.
Yeah, but this is kind of like
but,
a sneaky good signing. A
yeah,
great
and they're going to
signing,
be
actually.
they're going to have a bigger impact as far as the playoffs are concerned than Messi will, because Messi is not. I'm going to say it. Messi is not going to get Miami into the playoffs. These guys that are coming in are going to make their teams one of the top teams in the West. So it really is going to change up that picture and really change what we expect of these teams going forward. So Chicho Arango gets in. He starts his game. It's his debut game. 23 minutes into his start, goal. And a solid goal at that, right? Like everything you want from Chicho Arango, you got today. He comes out energetic, scores the first goal. Your team wins, I think it was like 4-0. And you're just dominant. But it all starts with him on the front foot, getting a quick early goal and starting his campaign off great. And part of this is because he's been practicing and working with the team for so long. So the issue with all these other players coming in is visas. Can they have their work visas?
Yeah.
Right. And then after they get their work visas sorted, they have to be signed in the transfer window, which is now open. But they cannot begin working, which means practice games, anything like that, until they get their visa situations sorted out. Teemu Pukki needs to get a visa. Lionel Messi needs to get a visa. Chicho Arango does not need to get a visa because he still has his visa from when he was playing at LAFC. It was so recently. So even though the transfer window wasn't open, he was still able to practice with the team and just wait for the transfer window to open so he can officially be registered and start playing
so that
with the
already
team.
gives him
Right? So he's already been practicing. His transition's there. Teemu Pukki, he's just now starting to be able to practice. And we saw him, and we'll get into him in a little bit, but he's not ready to start games because he hasn't been playing with the team. But Chicho Arango has been training with the team for a couple weeks now, ready to go, just needed the transfer window to open, and it's open, and now he's off to a great start. And this RSL team, I think, currently sits fourth in the West. I see them sticking in that top 4 spot, right? That's where you want to be. For those of you just listening at home wondering why top 4 is so important, if you finish in the top 4, you are guaranteed a home playoff game. That is big. If you finish 5th through 8th or 9th, odds are not going to get a home playoff game unless you win and then someone else below you wins. And it's just difficult. But you are guaranteed at least one home playoff game if you finish top 4. Chicho Arango is that guarantee for RSL. He is the guy to get them to that next level and keep them there. And the fact that it's already started 23 minutes into his campaign, incredible. Like you could not be happier if you're an RSL fan.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more on that. But that was just, I didn't even know that he was practicing with the team. That's huge, man.
It's massive.
Really,
it's absolutely massive.
That's huge because you already have that familiarity with all the players. That goes a long way, man. I think that's what's gonna take Messi a little bit of time to warm up. And that's the only thing that scares me about Messi is that he doesn't impose this game. So it might take him a while to figure it all out over there. But hey, I'm still counting on him to make it. So let's talk about Teemu in his debut, man. Teemu of the year. It looks like he was able to play about 35 minutes. What do you see? What are good things you take away out of his debut?
So Teemu got in the last 35-ish minutes of their game. They got trounced by Austin. I think it was 4-1 was the final. Rough. So you can't take too much away from that. All you can do is look at a couple plays here and there. Again, they were against the ball a lot. They weren't looking good. They weren't getting that build-up play. They were just completely dominated by this Austin team. but there was a couple moments where Reynoso and him looked like they were just about on the right page, right? And again, this is what we're talking about. They haven't had time to practice together. It's going to be a process. But the fact that they got 35 minutes in this game to play together, they looked decent in link-up play. I think it bodes well. Obviously, we're not going to be able to judge them until probably after the All-Star break and Leagues Cup break and see what they look like after they played multiple games together. But I was very high on this signing. I think that this combination is going to be very good, and I think sooner than later we will see Reynoso assisting Teemu Pukki time after time after time. But again, you can't take too much away from a 4-1 loss. That's tough.
Yeah, Minnesota should still be excited without saying too much, man. That you got a true threat now up there, and then with Reynoso, it's just maybe just been one of those games.
And Austin are a good team. Austin are a team that should be putting forward on people more than they've been, right? Like they have not been the team they should be.
Yeah.
So the fact that they put four on you is not a shameful thing.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world if you're Minnesota by any means.
Like I said, Minnesota should still be happy because by the time Reynoso and Teemu gets their connection linked up, they're gonna be happy campers. Let's just put it that way. They're gonna be really happy campers. All right, coach. So out of just talking about some of the things here, out of all those signings, right? So I want you to kind of give me. We touched on Messi, we touched on Chicho Arango, and we touched on Teemu. I know that you're high on Chicho Arango, even though he's had time to practice with them. Who do you really think, for the long run, affects the team more, or who has the bigger impact? Let's just not put your like.
What is the long run here? I need a qualifier.
Okay,
what is the long run?
I'll say maybe in the next 3 years, potentially taking the team maybe where it's never been. Rather it's winning it all, rather it's the final, by making an actual legitimate run that we can look back to and be like, oh, they were dangerous. Do you think any of this 3 team adding in those 3 players should be able to look forward to that in the next 3 years here?
Chicho Arango.
And
RSL. I like RSL, their shape, their discipline, their work rate. Chicho Arango is more of an RSL player than he is an LAFC player stylistically. And he was one of the best players in the league when he was playing with LAFC. Now you put him into a really well-disciplined, organized team. Mm-hmm. This is a team that made it to a Western Conference final without scoring a goal because they just simply would not get scored against, and every game went to penalties, right? Yeah. Like they beat the Seattle Sounders in the playoffs without taking a shot. Seattle had like 32 shots, just couldn't find the back of the net, and they ended up taking them to penalties and won. This is a team that has been able to have success without scoring goals, and now they have in his prime number 9 who can just put the ball in the net for fun. Right? Like they've already been successful without scoring goals, and now they have a guy that can score goals. Right? Like this is a no-brainer here.
Yeah.
Chicho Arango is going to bring this RSL team to probably a MLS Cup final at some point in his career there.
All right. That's well said. All right, last question before we end our first part here. The way LA Galaxy's been playing make me happy, man. What do you see? What do you see in the future? If you kind of look in your the crystal ball and you can see the future, what do you see? Where do they end up? I know they're probably not making the playoffs, but if they keep just pace up or close to it, yeah.
This season, I think playoffs are out. Just don't even think about that. It's next year that I think you want to look at, because they're going to have a relatively young team as far as their core is concerned. Hopefully Chicharito retires. That's not someone that you have to worry about salary-wise. And also right now they're not bringing in anyone big because they can't. they have a transfer ban and they cannot bring players in outside of the league. The only players that they can sign are MLS players. Next year, that transfer ban disappears and they'll be allowed to bring in $7-10 million players and have true superstar power again. A lot of the reasons that they're struggling now is because they haven't been able to bring in players like their opponents have. So I think once that ban disappears, once they kind of figure out their core a little bit better, they'll be good. Maybe not as good as they were last season, but they'll definitely be in contention for a home playoff position in the future.
All right, talk about that ban for a little bit. What happened there?
So it was something I believe to do with salary cap and financial restrictions. Okay. And they weren't playing by the rules. Inter Miami was in a similar boat. Inter Miami's was because they had too many designated players. So it had something to do with financial. So I'd have to look it up. I can't remember off the top of my head.
No problem.
It was a while ago. But it was for financial budgeting reasons.
Yo, how long did they give him? If it was a while ago, is it like 5 years that you get?
I think it was the entirety last transfer window and this transfer window. So just the last two transfer windows.
The last two. Okay, so I was about to say that's a long one. All right, cool. Well, that ends our first part right here. I'm gonna go ahead and let us have a quick break, and then we're gonna be right back to record our second part of the show. We'll be right back. Second part of the show. I glitched for a second.
You were about to say third and final.
I glitched for a second. I wanted to be the final, man. I've been out for too long. But welcome to our second part, where we're gonna be touching about the Concacaf Gold Cup. Man, we were fortunate enough to be in attendance today in the Gold Cup. Concacaf.
Is this what fortunate feels like? Because I feel like we were tortured for 8 hours.
You gotta be.
It was rough.
You gotta understand that sometimes your blessing comes with some pains. It was a blessing. It was good. It was a good game. We had good seats. We watched 2 games back to back. My first question to David was, "Hey, bro, do you think we'll be done by like 9:30 or 10 p.m.?" And you were like, "Yeah, just about right there."
I thought about 10:30. I was like 10:30 at the latest. And I'm
like, you know what? Maybe it's gonna be like 8:30. If he's confident it's gonna be 9, maybe like 8:30 we won't be out of here. Nah, we left at what, like 11:30?
11:30. I think we got out of stadium at like 11:15.
And it was late. At like what, 5? Because we were at the
before that we walked into stadium at like 4:30.
4:30.
Kickoff was around 5.
That was crazy, But hey, let's go ahead and dive into the game. First of all, I want to give a shout out to the first game we watched. We're not really gonna talk about it much, but the Guatemala and Jamaica. Jamaica got some ballers, man. Great ballers. But the great things that I want to bring up was the Guatemala. I know y'all got eliminated, but if any of y'all run into this podcast, way to show up, man. Way to show up. I couldn't see any. I know there were Jamaicans in the crowd, but I couldn't see them.
Couldn't see them. You couldn't hear them. It was the loudest. I think it was the loudest crowd I've ever been in.
Same.
And the stadium was only half full.
And it wasn't even full.
Yeah, half
Guatemala.
full. It was only a 25,000 seat stadium. Half full. It was so deafeningly loud. And we were close to the field, and I couldn't hear the whistle. I couldn't hear you talk at times. Yeah. It was so loud.
What's funny is like U.S. game starts, and we can hear everything. It's like,
I can hear goalkeepers talking. Like I can hear every inch of it, and there's like 5,000 more people in the stadium.
Where the Guatemalans at? But shout out to you guys. I know you guys got eliminated, but shout out. Okay, coach. So let's talk about this game that messed with our emotion, and the ref. 2-2 went to penalty. USA won. But what a roller coaster of a game. Was boring. Was not boring. Then we thought US was gonna lose. Then they tie, and then they went to PKs. So
first we thought they were going to win because
yeah.
we'll just run through this really quick. So Jesus
before
Ferreira,
we say that, like, give me 1 second. There's a ref that got injured. I hope he's doing well. So, by the way, I don't know what happened there, but we hope he's doing well. Just wanted to say that.
yes, I think it was about 90 seconds into this game.
Yeah.
The
Hope you're
referee just, I don't know what happened, but he's down. It looks like they were checking his neck. He's down for probably about 7-8 minutes. They eventually get him to the tunnel. The fourth official steps up and takes his spot.
Yeah.
He was on the complete opposite side of the stadium. I couldn't see. They didn't have the cameras on him, as they shouldn't. So it was hard to see. I'm thinking maybe he took like a ball to the face and broke his nose, because it looked like at one point they had a rag to his face. So I'm wondering if he just got obliterated by a ball getting kicked out of bounds or something.
Maybe.
But regardless, game went on.
Mhm.
And it was incredible, except for the first 80 minutes or so that were just boring. The first 80 minutes were rough. But after that, so the thing here is Ferreira gets the start, and then late in the game, they move Ferreira into the 10 role and bring on Brandon Vasquez.
Yeah.
For probably about 30 minutes before Vasquez comes on, the crowd in Cincinnati is just chanting, "We want Vasquez. We want Vasquez." Because obviously he plays for Cincinnati.
Yeah.
He is a hometown hero. And when they bring on Vasquez, they don't just bring on Vasquez. They bring on Matt Miaga at center back as well. So the two FC Cincinnati players that made this Gold Cup roster got to play in front of a home crowd. And it was just, that was the loudest the stadium had gotten all day.
Yeah.
That was louder than anything that happened in the Guatemala game. But for about those 10 seconds, it was louder. It was louder.
Bro,
For those 10 seconds, that was loud.
I don't know about that. We should have measured that. Next time we go, we're going to have those like decimal thing. But
it was at least equal.
I'll give
you can't say
equal,
Guatemala was loud.
but not better. Equal,
it was loud. So they both come on, and Vasquez immediately takes a shot, just goes wide, and Miche you look at me and you're like, what if he scores? This place will go crazy.
Yeah.
88th minute, Brandon Vasquez with a towering header puts USA up 1-0, and you're just like, it's it. It's done. It's great.
It's
the board goes up 6 minutes of added time. And then in the 90th plus 3 minutes, all of a sudden the referee makes the VAR check sign.
Bro, like, nobody knew what happened.
It was so confusing. There was nothing in there, and you're just like, I don't know. And the play had continued a long way. You don't know where it was that it got called. You don't know if this is a foul in the field that they're checking for a red card. You don't know if this is a penalty. You have no idea. All of a sudden, he signals a penalty. We get the replays in stadium. It was one of the harshest handball calls I could ever imagine being given. Yes, his hand was in an unnatural position. Yes, the ball hit his hand, but it hit his hand after coming off a deflection of a player that was stood 6 inches in front of him and changing the course of the ball to hit his hand. And somewhere in the rule book for offside or for handball offenses is something called essentially a congested area, meaning if you can't really see where the ball is and the ball hits you, it's not your fault. There was a guy 6 inches from him, literally, and another player like a foot from him, and the ball just kind of takes a weird bounce up. It was
a scuffle.
Yeah, I don't think that it obviously wasn't called on field.
Yeah,
I don't know many referees that would ever call that. I just can't picture that being a handball. I don't like living in a world where that is a handball, but we live in a handball. We live in a world where it is a handball, apparently. So, Vittoria steps up. Great Canadian name there, by the way. Steps up and puts the ball in the net. 93rd minute on the PK. Foreshadowing here. they should want to savor that PK because they didn't score many of them later on in this game. But so that brings us 1-1 right at the end of this game. And it goes to extra time. And I think me and you just looked at each other. We were so tired.
I want to be here,
I wanted
bro.
to go to bed, man. We knew we had 30 more minutes in it. It was rough.
Oh, my God.
So we were just in misery. Everyone else was in misery because Canada got the equalizer. We were in misery because we've can't go to bed.
For we were in there for because some of the people only had shown up to like the U.S. game. We was committed. We were in there. We were like in there, but
it was rough.
But yeah,
but then
it goes
to 2 15-minute halves. And in the 109th minute of what will be 120 minutes total, the young Canadian Jacob Schaffelberg, who plays for Nashville, who Hani Mukhtar has turned into a national level player, right? This guy was nowhere near making the national team. Now he all of a sudden goes from Toronto to Nashville, and Hani Mukhtar makes this guy an international. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Honestly,
so now
let me just get this, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but he's one of the fastest player I've seen with my two eyes. That kid is fast.
And he's relentless, man. He's like a dog with a bone, right? Like he will not give up.
Yeah.
So he gets his goal in the 109th minute of this game, like I said, of 120. And you and me, we looked at each other. We were obviously a little disappointed, but we were also relieved. Like we're going to be able to go home.
Man.
There's no penalties. And then Canadian gets an own goal.
Yeah.
Which it was Busio's shot that then kind of takes a deflection off the keeper and then bounces into a defender and then finds the back of the net as it gets chipped over. It was a mess, but it equalized 114th minute.
I didn't celebrate.
And we went to penalties.
I sat down. The penalties got me excited.
I celebrated. I jumped up. I went crazy.
I know. I was looking.
I was not expecting it,
bro. You understand? This means we got to be here for longer.
No, right? I went crazy. My instincts took over. I guess I'm more American than you, which makes sense.
I'm from the Congo. I was
but
born.
I went crazy. My voice is sore. I don't think I've yelled that much ever.
I was yelling. Everybody was high-fiving everybody. I was high-fiving random people. The PKs were exciting. So let's dive right into the PKs, man. First of all, before the PKs start, the players are just kind of like standing, kind of like not in a midfield where they're supposed to stand, just like a little above the air, like the circle.
They're almost exactly 10 yards closer to the goal than where they're supposed to be stood.
Which
both teams
are standing there. Which to me it didn't matter. It's 11. Let's just get the goals. And the ref tries to get them in one place. And the level
there's no way
pettiness.
there's no way to describe this other than ultimate pettiness. So the AR tries to tell them they have to back up, and he's looking at Canada and telling them to back up, and they're refusing. They're pointing at the U.S., being like, well, they're not moving. And then the AR then tries to go to the U.S. and say, well, you guys need to back up. And then they point at Canada and go, well, they're not moving. And then the ref comes over, and this, mind you, is just grown men being told to step back 10 yards. They're refusing to be the first team to move back.
Did not do it.
This takes 5 minutes. I have never been so
pull the yellow card.
I have never been so mad. I just wanted this game to be over. I'm like, y'all really are not going to just walk 10 yards. 10 yards.
Honestly,
you're keeping me up because you don't want to be the first team to move?
I honestly was like, why does that matter? Can we just
And then finally Canada moved, and as soon as Canada took like 2 steps backwards, the USA was like, all right, we can move now. We're good.
You can't be the first to move. That was insane.
I don't know if they caught that on camera. I don't know what the commentators were talking about, but like it was so disrespectful to the referees, first of all. It was so petty
Yeah.
to just not want to be the first team to move. I don't even know why they lined up there in the first place. It's always
Yeah.
on the halfway line. I don't know
Bro,
why both teams decided that's where they're going to line up. It was weird. It was just weird and unnecessary.
don't you think that ref kind of deserved it though a little bit?
So you didn't like him. I thought he was actually a good ref. I thought he let a lot play on. He let a physical game, but I thought he was
Yeah,
a pretty
but
good ref.
to me, it's like some of the things he let play on. Then he called the same things. I don't know if it was just me. It was like if you're gonna let it play out all game. That's just where I was
I
at.
think he was pretty consistent.
And I
In
don't
my
know
opinion,
the
I
weird
liked him.
VAR. There was like 3 or 4 VAR checks in this game, and I was just like, I kept questioning like, why are we checking the VAR? Like, what's
But
happening?
that's not his call.
Mind
He
you,
doesn't get to say that.
mind you, Canada could have had 2 PKs because in the first half there was another penalty check with via VAR, if you recall that.
Yes, which he decided was not a penalty.
Yeah, so a lot of VAR check, but yeah, so Canada steps out first to take a shot, and in great U.S. fashion, he gets saved, and we're yelling.
Well, I think I told you when this happened that if this goes to penalties, USA is winning. We have the better goalkeeper and we have better finishers. But both Brandon Vasquez and Vittoria missed their first penalties.
Yeah,
Brandon Vasquez just skies his. Vittoria tries to put his down the middle. But Matt Turner doesn't care. He's just going to stand in the middle and save it.
yeah.
And then Frazier steps up for Canada. Turner saves it. Cade Cowell puts it in the back of the net. Busio and Miller both convert theirs. Russell Rowe and Ferreira both convert theirs.
Yeah.
And then it is do or die for Canada. Fifth round, you have to make it because currently USA leads 3-2. And another big save for Turner. He made well, actually, I think this one hit off the crossbar.
Yeah, you hit off the crossbar.
But
yeah.
I consider a miss to be a save because goalkeepers at that point, you are in their head. You're trying to throw them off by taking little feints one way, stepping a certain way, getting eye contact with them. So I think if you have a guy miss from 12 yards away, you saved it. I don't care if you touched it or not. You did something there.
Yeah.
So Matt Turner, just a beast.
Today. I give it to him. Obviously, they put 2 on him. But
one was a penalty.
One was a penalty, yeah.
And the other one was just a really good counterattack that Schaffelberg does very well on.
He just put it right where you can. There wasn't a lot to be done with that shot, but just let it go in. But yeah. So that was pretty much the game. Everyone went crazy. That was cool, man. That was a cool experience. I'm gonna put it that way. That was a really, really cool experience to be a part of that and to be that close to it all. That was a cool experience for me. That was really cool.
And I mean, obviously, I agree. It was as much as I'm complaining about it, it was a lot of fun. But there's a big question to be asked here. Right? So in the Jamaica game, Ferreira wasn't able to score. Vasquez comes on for him, gets a late goal. This game, Ferreira isn't able to score. Vasquez comes on, not for him, but into his position, gets a late goal. Should the next game, which will be against Panama, should Vasquez start this game?
I'll say yes. I didn't see a lot from Jesus Ferreira up there as a 9. And I just think the way US is playing, as a 9, Vasquez could do more damage.
We were playing a lot of balls into the box on crosses, which is how we scored our goals too. So to have a big, what is he, like 6'3" center forward is helpful. I think he should start. Then so does that mean Ferreira is on the bench, or are you putting him into a 10 role? Are you putting him out wide and to the right or to the left? Like, what would you do with Ferreira?
I didn't really like him as a 10. I wanted to put him down when they shift him down.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say this because I like him a lot, but I almost just to try this to see how we first go on this next game. I'll sit him. I don't
I
like it.
think I would start him outright because Gressel was not doing it for me out on the right wing. I'd put him outright. I thought because when he was playing centrally,
you don't
he
think
was
he had
shifting
a
right a
good
lot
game?
anyways.
Okay,
Huh?
I thought he had a good game.
Gressel, I wasn't. I wanted Gressel to be one of the first subs in this game. I was not. I was not enjoying his play.
Oh, okay.
So I would sit Gressel, and I would put Ferreira outright and Vasquez up top. I think that is your absolute best lineup.
Okay, but I mean, you're also putting your best players out on the field, so.
And I'd probably start Cade Cowell out left too.
I was gonna say either like K-Cow or Morris got to start, like one of them. But yeah, so the thing about Kid Cow, I'm known as a Kid Cow hater, I think, but I like I like the kid. He's got everything in his toolbox. I just need him to start finishing, man. Like if he starts scoring or even putting the right passes in the right place, beast, you can't stop him. So that's all I got for him.
He's got that little bit of technical ability that really no one on this USA roster has. And I think once, like you said, he gets a little more goal dangerous,
Yeah,
he's going to be a very good player.
yeah,
So I'm excited to see what he does. I want to see him play more than Morris because even though I'm a Sounders fan through and through, I know what Morris is going to give us. I want to see kids in this. We're already bringing our B team, so you might as well just actually get the guys that might make it up to the A team.
yeah.
Right? We know Morris isn't going to be a starter for the U.S. men's national team A team anytime ever. So why put him in positions to succeed and take minutes away from a 19-year-old kid that could very realistically end up getting a starting spot one day in his career?
Yeah, bro, say could never get it ever. That's crazy, man.
He can't. He's too late in his career. There's already better players in the positions that he plays. He's not going to be a starter for this U.S. men's national team ever.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Nobody's arguing that. All right. Well, if that's how we're gonna leave things, that's how we're gonna leave things. Let's hope that we get a lot of goals next game. Well, we're not going to the next game, so whoever's going there, just if they having 2 games in a row, we warned you. But I'm gonna have
it's rough. It's rough.
You can see our faces right now. It is not it's fun, but hey,
I think I'm severely sunburnt. Like,
yeah,
I was looking at myself for the first time. I'm pretty red.
Bro, what?
I'm in a rough spot. Tomorrow is going to be really tough because I'm going to be outside all day tomorrow too. So it's going to be tough. But this brings us to the next 2 games. The semifinal of the Gold Cup is Panama versus USA and Mexico, Jamaica. So we are still on pace for that USA Mexico potential final that we all want. These are 4 really good teams.
Yeah.
I'm excited. This Panama USA game is going to be good, but that Mexico Jamaica game, that's going to be fire. That's going to be the game of the tournament so far. I'm very excited for that game.
I think if Jamaica passes, they have a high chance of winning it all.
I was telling you today, they're my favorites for it. I think they should, talent on paper, they should win. They were by far the better team over Guatemala today.
They were able to weather that storm where it felt like they had no fans at all. And they were getting, they got booed every single time they were on the ball. Boo, like literally every single time they were on the ball. And they made it happen. Can't take that away from them, man. So, what are you still sticking with the prediction of US Mexico?
I mean, that's what I want. But if I'm being honest, I think it's going to be USA Jamaica.
And then Jamaica wins?
Yeah. I think this is Jamaica's Gold Cup.
Yeah. All right, awesome.
It's not what I want, but I think that's what's happening.
Yeah. And I really like number 18 for Jamaica. What was the name again? I for some reason I don't know.
Michael Antonio, the West Ham player.
Yeah.
Who is probably the most for a time he was by far the most famous player in CONCACAF. And I don't know how you didn't know who he is, man.
I didn't know who he is.
You're sleeping on him.
I think
you finally came around to the Antonio train, and he's close to retirement. So that's
I love him. I love him. I think he deserves to host that trophy up, man. Definitely deserves it. All right. Well, I'm gonna stop us here. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back for our final and third part where we're gonna touch on the All-Star game and then we'll end it there. Third and final part of the Football Profits, where we're going to be touching about the All-Star game that's happening. So Coach David has put together a Profits Pod starting 11 based on the players that we know that are going to be participating. So we're just going to run through that a little bit, and in great fashion. When I disagree about the player's name, I'll bring it up. I hope Benteke is in the starting 11.
I was going to say, I haven't even told you what my lineup is, and you're already going to disagree. You just decided you're going to have an argument today. You don't even know what it's about yet. You're going to have one.
I'm gonna figure it out. Yeah.
I'm glad that the fans of the show get to see you in this light. I'm glad that they get to see the Mache that I know. It's not my fault. It's him. He's the problem. He just hides it. But you have issues, man, and you need to work this out.
You a goalkeeper. We talked about how all goalkeepers should go to therapy after the downplaying, and I think my boy needs it. Goalkeepers are insane.
You have just decided you're going to have an argument today.
I'm still better than goalkeepers.
2 a.m, and you're just like, I'm going to argue this.
Let's have some beef.
Why? You don't even know what it is. Why? What if it's perfect? You're just going to come up with something?
Nah, we don't like perfect, man.
This is perfect.
Go ahead. What you got?
But you are going to argue because I know exactly what you're going to argue about. There's 2 positions that you're going to argue about.
All right.
So for this, I've just done a 4-3-3. So 1 goalkeeper, 2 center backs, 2 outside backs, a defensive-minded midfielder, 2 more attacking midfielders, and then 3 attackers.
Bro, you said I did a 4-3-3, 1 goalkeeper. How many goalkeepers?
People, you would be surprised how many people get confused in the 4-3-3 and are like, but that only adds up to 10. You would be surprised how many people I have this conversation with.
You serious? I have never heard that in my life. But all right, keep going. Sorry about that.
I once had someone tell me it was like a Sunday league type of game, and the coach was telling me the lineup, and he said, "We're gonna play a 1-4-3-3," and I was like,
"What's
what?
Your one?"
I was like, what? I was so confused.
Coach? And
he was a coach. I was so confused. I was like, "Oh, we don't say the one,
it's
but
the American version."
But
that's funny.
He was actually El Salvadorian, but yeah, sure. But all right. So our goalkeeper, we have a choice here of Petrovic, Berkey, and Miller. Miller was thrown out the gate. Like, he is not starting for me. I want Petrovic. I think Petrovic is better than Berkey this year. I know you're going to want Berkey in there, but Petrovic has been incredible. He was incredible last season. He's incredible this season. He's the best goalkeeper in MLS. So for me, he's getting the start. Berkey would play the second half for sure, but Petrovic is getting the start.
I'll let you out that one, but Berkey, man, great success. This team is doing amazing, man. You didn't imagine they would do this good.
Neither did you.
I said
no one did. Not a single person thought. Oh, we both thought Berkey was going to be this good. It was the team. It was the team that we thought was going to be bad.
Yeah. All right, keep going.
I have Walker Zimmerman and Matt Miazga as the 2 center backs. I thought they've both been really good, and they both play on pretty good defensive teams. I have John Tolkien outright. I'm a really big fan of this kid. He can play both sides of the ball, left or right, or field rather. He's a good attacking-minded player. And then out left back, I have Gallagher of Austin. Started the season out incredibly. I think he was Austin's leading goal scorer for a few weeks there. settled down a bit, but has become a much better defender than he was at the beginning of the season. So I think that is a really solid back four there.
Yeah.
And really, there's only one holding midfielder, defensive-minded midfielder on this team, and it's Jose Martinez from Philly. He's the player that just hit probably goal of the year a couple weeks ago. Just a screamer of a volley. It was absolutely flawless. It was so good that Michael Ura just put his hands in his head and just didn't believe what he saw. And that's a top level goal scorer.
Yeah.
Just in awe of what the six did.
All right. So before you keep going, I'm just going to say this. I hope that the other two midfielders are Hani Mukhtar and Acosta.
So I had to put Jose Martinez in there because we're not going to get much defense out of Hani Mukhtar and Acosta.
All right, good. So
they are in there. They are in there. I have Acosta playing a bit more of an 8 role, a little bit deeper. We've seen him do more defensive work than we've seen Mukhtar do. But no, you can't have an all-star game without any of those two starting. Yeah. So you just have to make it work. And Jose Martinez is the guy that makes that work because he is a ground covering 6, and he's going to be balling out this game covering for them against Arsenal. Yeah. Those were the two easiest decisions. The next two easiest were hands down Denny Bouanga out left and Espinoza out right. Those guys have been on it. They've both kind of actually hit a slump the last 2 weeks or so, but there has not been a better left and right wing player than those two.
Their body of work this season speak for itself. Like, you can't argue with that. All right. Nah, hit me with that number 9. Hit me with that number 9.
Do you just want to already argue about it? You can just tell me why it should be Benteke?
Because I love Benteke, and that man is a beast. That man has everything. And if you playing Bouanga and you playing, like, bro, you give Benteke that midfield and those wingers 10 goals.
So here's the thing. I think it will be Benteke because Wayne Rooney is the head coach of this.
Nah,
Wayne Rooney is his head coach. He will start his man, but I think it should be Gigi Giacomakis. He's just been better. He's been the best number 9 in the league this year. Benteke's been great, but Gigi is better. There's no real way around that. But it being in DC, I do see a very realistic scenario in which Christian Benteke gets the start here.
I am actually not mad at that. If they don't end up playing Benteke for your lineup, I wouldn't be mad at seeing that. Yeah, that actually makes sense. If there's one person that I'll be okay with Benteke not playing, it'll be Giacomakis.
He's been a baller this year.
GG, yeah. If there's one player where I'll be like, okay, Benteke is sitting down, it's got to be GG. I'll swallow that. I'll be cool with that.
So if we're looking here, as I pull it up, so interestingly enough, if you're looking at the top goal scorers in the league, there isn't really a true number 9 in the top 4 or 5. I guess you could say Carranza's there, but he's kind of more of a second forward. The top goal scorers in this league are Mukhtar, Bouanga, and Acosta. The top true number 9 is Gigi Giacomakis. It's really weird to me that there is not a number 9 really in the Golden Boot race. There was last season. There was only number 9s in the race really last year. So to me, this shows how important those number 10s are being.
Yeah.
As you have players like Mukhtar, Acosta, who are getting double-digit goals already at the halfway point of the season.
Yeah.
And they're near double-digit assists also. Yeah. So I don't know if that's the era of the goal scoring 9 moving away in MLS, and we're going to see kind of more hold up play strikers, big strikers getting the ball and playing it out to these players making runs off of them.
Yeah.
Which we see with Benteke all the time, which we see with Gigi, which we see with Brandon Vasquez.
Yeah.
But when I saw that, it caught my eye. It was an interesting thing.
Yeah.
But
you know go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say, you know what's gonna help that era even more is that Messi's coming in. So he's kind of like that free 10, right? That can also put the ball in the net. And I think he's gonna come. I mean, Mukhtar and Acosta already kind of ushering that new era, but having Messi in the MLS as well doing that, the number 10s their stocks are about to go up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all I got. You would only argue really on those 2 positions, so I think that's about as good as I can get because we both know there isn't a scenario that you wouldn't argue something. So I'm happy. I'm content. I'm ready for bed.
I give you GG. All right. So we all ready for bed. We appreciate everybody being here watching the show, man. Please tell a friend to tell a friend that knows a friend to tell another friend to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, like, leave a comment. We're working on a giveaway pretty soon. We should be able to announce that on our next episode. So if you live in the Cincinnati area, you should be excited. If you don't live in the Cincinnati area, still keep your ears open. We're gonna find a way to include you. But other than that, we'll catch you guys on another episode. But don't forget to listen to us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and reach out to us in our email, which is prophetspod@gmail.com, or you can reach us on Twitter, which is @prophetspod. With that being said, thanks for being here one more time, and Coach, on to the next one.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
All right. Have a good one, boy.
You too.